welcome back to the BookFest Club. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Jules and our co-host Key. You know, she's a queen of the pod. She's not going to be able to record with us today. She is away right now, but you know what I mean? The novella boys is here. The novella boys is here. We're covering our first novella. We're covering Freida McFadden's.
Hey, novellas need love too, man.
That's what he said. That's to me the segment. Novellas need love. There you go. You said yesterday, you was like, yo, it's going to be, what's the segment going to be? The segment is novellas need love too, man. And that's what we here for. And you know, we had to start it off with our girl, Freida, in Death Row. But look, we ain't going to keep the people waiting so long, brother. Let's get into it. We starting off with Talia Kemper, who is a Death Row inmate accused of killing her husband, right?
Okay.
And we'll find out how she killed her husband already off rip, right? It just could have been a longer book, but Freida want to give us a little dabble. You know what I'm saying? And she's about to die through lethal injection in a couple of weeks.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? And her lawyer, you know, my son Bowman, trying to file his last appeal. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get her off.
She like give it up,
and she like giving it up. But y'all know we got a thriller rubric to go through. Because here at the BookFest Club, we like to have some spoilers, but also have some insight in the book. We don't just want to give y'all the jump. We want to motivate y'all to read the books while still giving y'all spoilers if you didn't read the book, right? So for our first rubric, right, we're going to go down to the 7-point rubric. The hook. Did it grab you immediately, Jules? Were you invested early? And did it take long to build?
It's like in the Audible, I read on 1.35, and so it's only like an hour and some change. The whole listen is, and so I feel like I'm here for it because I don't care how long it got to start. It got to end here in a minute anyway, and so I feel like it earned my time from the start. Like I'm like, man, okay, why is she on death? It's rare that you see a woman that's on death row. So it's like, why is this woman on death row? Right? She's isolated from the general population. 23 hours in a cell. You only get 1 hour out your cell, man. You know, both of us, we worked in corrections together. And so we know what that's like when somebody gets that room time, man. It's I feel like that setup alone created pressure. You know what I'm saying? We're not waiting for the story to get serious. It starts off serious. Serious. You know what I'm saying? It's serious from page one. And so I like that. There's this constant beeping noise, and I'm trying to make sense of that because she keeps bringing it up. It's a eerie detail that keeps living in the background. And I know it's a clue, and I'm trying to figure out what the clue is because at the beginning, you just don't fully understand it yet. But I feel like the reader is pulled in by just one giant question is, how did this woman get here? And is she actually guilty? I think that's what kept me reading.
Got you. Same for me. It grabbed me immediately. Pause. Even her just being on death row was that made me invested early. And I feel like a novella is not going to take long to build. You can't, you know what I'm saying? It just started building right there. We know she about to die. You know what I mean? So it definitely grabbed us. The hook was hooking. You know what I mean? Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Pause that one.
I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, but right. I'm going crazy with it right now. I don't know what's going on, man. Yo, just know that the hook was
ain't right.
Right. Yeah, I know that's crazy. I know it ain't. But we gonna keep. Listen, let's go, man.
Okay.
Plot twist, yo. Word twist, shocking or predictable? Did the plot stay tight throughout the book?
I feel like it did. It was like, cause what you said, man. A novella isn't long, but here's the thing, cause I do public speaking. I speak at my church, man. I speak at events around my area. It's hard to do. It's not hard to speak for an hour. That's not hard for me. I got more than enough content. That's not hard. You know when it's the hardest for me to speak, the most challenging time to speak is when I got less than 30 seconds.
Yep.
When I got 60 seconds or less to communicate an idea. And so for you to write a gravitating story, a book that's under like 2 minutes, or I'm not 2 minutes, but 2 hours.
Right.
Man, that could be difficult, especially when you're used to writing, 500-page books. So this is like
7-hour
man,
books, yeah.
For real, you could read this before going to bed at night. And so I feel like it stayed. I feel like it stuck with it. You talked about plot twist, right? Did you say?
Yeah. Plot twist and shocking.
I feel like it outsmarted me.
Absolutely.
I couldn't figure it out. I was outsmarted. Freida outsmarted me, man. She just didn't have one twist. She had a twist and a 180, and then she spit the merry-go-round around. I was lost, bro. The misdirection in this thing, the fragmented truth. I felt like Freida was lying to me the whole time, man. Like,
yo,
this joint was crazy, bro.
Even going back to the spitting in the drink, and when she met her husband, and she was like, "Nah, what you doing?" Like, yo, what you doing? Like, nah, because her ex-boyfriend had broke up with her. She saw the blonde, you know what I'm saying, in the shop, and she like, you know, she gave it a little water spit. He like, nah, what you doing? Like, what you doing over there? She like, yo, I got caught. He like, nah, you got a hog spitting it. You got to put that phlegm in it. So they going back and forth, phlegming in her drink. You know what I'm saying? Remind me of the good old Starbucks days. Word.
Saliva. Like.
Word. That remind me of the good old Starbucks days, man. You come in there acting crazy, you know what's going to happen to your drink. But yo, I just was like, yo, this is wild, son.
And then where she tried to throw you off with like Ariel flirting and
in the backyard during the party.
In the backyard, like, who is this woman? Get out my house.
Went crazy on her. He like, yo, chill. Yeah, you know, she got invited by one of my colleagues. That's how you know it's real when you gotta say your colleagues. I think I've used that word probably 5 times in my life, bro. When the last time you said colleagues? These are one of my colleagues.
Man, you gotta have a certain position to have a colleague.
Right, you can't be
certain occupation.
Never mind. I ain't even gonna get into that. As we move into the suspension and tension portion, right? Did it create real anxiety? The stakes was high. Matter of fact, when the stakes high, and then we feel urgency. I'm gonna answer that one, and then you can go. Heck yeah, this lady's about to die. She's on death row, bro. This is the ultimate. You got one appeal, and your lawyer's bringing you that information today. Your life hangs in a balance between you walking out of that cell and going to that visiting room and looking their lawyer in the face, and hopefully he's saying they adjudicated that jump. And now you're going to either have a different sentencing where you can just live out your life in jail, or you're going to die within 2 weeks, right? So that makes the stakes as high as it can go, right off the rip. And guess what? It's also urgent because you need this. Because if you don't get a stay, it's not going to happen. What about you, Ju?
So her husband, Noel, he has a accident when he was a kid. He played pee-wee football or whatever, broke his nose. He can't smell as a result of this injury. And so the gas leak setup is like a huge psychological turning point because she devises up a plan based on one fact. Noel can't smell. Man, that was just a huge, so she just did a good job at just weaponizing assumption. This twist, it wasn't just a twist. She rewired the whole story, bro. And so with all that, it's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of stress there. I feel like it also reads as like I was panically listening to this book, right? I was panically because it was like, okay, I got one day before. Okay, they moved her from death row to death. What was it called? I forget what it was called, but where they prep you for death row so that you're closer to the lethal injection chamber, if you will. But I feel like the suspense is strong, bro, because everything builds around just that shrinking time, man. She's about to, and they're not listening to her, man. Everybody's innocent on death row, right? And so she up here trying to plead her innocence. Ain't nobody listening to you, man. The courts have spoken, bro. The law of the land has spoken. You're about to die. Your appeal is denied, just like you talked about. Oh, yeah, she's on death watch.
I was just about to say death watch.
Yeah, she's on death watch. Yeah, which means that this is, there's a phone in the execution chamber, but that phone ain't ringing.
If it ain't ringing.
Phone ain't
ringing. And then, not only that, as we get into characters, right? She's the strong protagonist, right? She's the one that's protagonist. She's kind of made out to be the villain, right? She's our memorable villain. There was no unnecessary side characters because it wasn't a lot of characters. It was maybe 5, 6, the max, between different points of the story. But her husband being the chaplain, when she pulled up and saw him visiting another inmate at the jail, and she's like, yo, I know him. That's my man. that's Noelle. And then she's like, Rhea, the prison guard, is like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
huh? That's the chaplain. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I know. And then, Rhea doing her investigation it was a lot of things going on.
And then when he stretched across the table, it was just
it was like, I love you. And she was like,
but it was
I
a
knew
whisper
it.
in the
I
air.
knew it. So you got Noelle, you got
Father Decker,
which
is
you got
Father Decker,
right?
/ Noelle.
You got Ariel in there, right? You got
Kenzie, who's a friend that they went out with.
You got Rhea, who's the prison guard,
mm-hmm.
and then you got
Elizabeth Sharp, who met her in the restaurant, the older lady, the
older
colleague.
lady, the colleague. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who he was supposed to be smelling like, and she was accusing him of when he was coming home. And remember, he came home, she wanted to give him some yams, and my son was like, "Nah," ran upstairs, he said, "No, I'll only fall asleep on you." And he ran upstairs, took a shower. She like, "Yo, I already know what up with him. He smells like such and such and such." And I was like,
of her cologne, her
perfume. Right.
Like,
so,
man,
it's quick. Man. So you don't really get a lot of time with the characters, but the characters made sense and they did their job in the novella.
Man, listen, I feel like the real villain in this whole little novella was my perception.
That's deep. That's deep right there.
I don't feel like it was
That's deep
Talia.
Right there.
I don't feel like it was Noel. I just feel like it was my perception. And like McFadden, she leveraged perception against us all.
Perception versus reality in this one. This is literally a perception versus reality novella. Yeah. And even down to the writing and pacing at the 5th point, it has to be fast paced. It can't drag because this is a novella. You had we listened to it. So it was an hour and 47 minutes. If you listen to it on 1.0, and I listened to it like on 1.5, so it was like an hour and 30-something minutes.
Yeah, mine was like an
hour and 30-something minutes. So it had to be fast paced. But this is like the end of a book. You know how the end of a book, I think she wrote this from a perspective of this. The last hour and a half is where you get the ending, then you get the epilogue, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of get the double whammy or the triple whammy. And I think she wrote this as the end of the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She probably had the book and was like, nah, I'm going to just get him the end of the book. You know what I'm saying? And make it a novella. You know what I mean?
Man, that's a good observation, man. I think it was too. It does read like that.
Like you're writing this is what happens at the end of the book. All of this stuff happened. Him coming home late and working. She could have spent off of all that throughout the book. Their love interest, him coming to visit her in jail and all kind of stuff. The father, it could have been a whole expound, but I think she did this towards the end of the book. So I definitely felt like she did that. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. It's committed to, as far as pacing is concerned, it's committed to momentum, right? The fast pace is built for a binge reader. This book is paced so well. You could, like, a daily commute. If you got a commute where you got to go to work, from the time you leave the front door of your home and you return to the front door of your home at the end of your workday, you could finish this book. And so I feel like the pacing was amazing.
Yep. And then sharp dialogue, no over explaining, because you can't over explain when you're doing a novella, right? It's no need to. You got to just keep hitting them with like bars. You know what I'm saying? It's like a battle raps. You got 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like my son at 8 Mile said, each of these cats, they get 3 minutes apiece. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's just like you got a time frame where you got to hit and land these punches, right? And they have to do his job. And she did her job in that writing, and it wasn't no over explaining. And then as we move on, originality. I've never seen nothing like this. It's my first novella though, so I don't know.
First novella?
Maybe it's my first novella. It's my first novella, bro. Yeah, let's make some noise for that. This is my first novella. So for me, it wasn't overused. Fresh concept.
I felt tension when I was telling Jay, like, hey man, we should do a novella. Jay was like, I was like, are they frowned upon in the bookish community?
Right. And that's probably another episode that we need to talk about too. Novella, because this is my first one, and I actually enjoyed it. I felt like I learned more in the book. Like I didn't need the backstory. I kind of knew what was going on. That's why I said it was a fresh concept, and for me, it stood out in the thriller space. What about you, though?
I feel like it was original, man. I've never read anything like this or listened to anything. The woman in confinement, questioning reality, that setup was brand new I feel like for a thriller. The suspicious husband angle is always like familiar. So I kind of went with it too. Like talking about going back to that perception, I went with that. Man, I don't know if we want to. Are we doing spoilers?
Heck yeah, we doing
Okay,
spoilers.
cool.
Heck
And
yeah.
so the coma reveal, you know, and the way that the prison reality was constructed, because it turns out that she was in a coma in the hospital dreaming. And so, but while she's dreaming about being on death row, which is really an analogy or a metaphor for how she died, her
Guilty
being in coma
conscience.
was like guilty conscience from
conscious 'cause
trying
what
to
she
kill her
did.
husband, because she tried to kill her husband in real life.
Yep.
Winded up, got hit by a Mack truck, right? Winded up in the hospital on her way back, racing back after she found out that her husband was really just working
Yeah, he was
on a
working. He
project in the
wasn't cheating.
office. On her
Right.
way back to turn the gas off of the stove and to warn him, she
So
gets
there
hit
wouldn't
by
be
a
an
Mack truck
explosion.
after she gets off the phone with them, and she winds up in the hospital in a coma, and she's dreaming about being on death row. And I like how Freida woven in like all the stimuli from the hospital room in her dream. The beat was actually just the hospital monitors, the equipment that was beeping.
Hooking her up, yep.
Yeah. I feel like it was just it was clever because there's a late payoff at the end. And so, man, originality. Man, Freida, you did your thing on this, man. If you like, man, listen, I say that for landing the plane. But yeah, man, I feel like the originality was, for me, it was there. It was dope.
And as you talked about the ending, we know what happens. You know what I'm saying? She's on life support, so she's dreaming, in our perception, she's dreaming about, you know, the guilt, right? It's the guilt, her being on death row, facing her maker, not in the spiritual sense, but her facing her reality of what could have happened if she killed her husband. And that's having her on death row. She's subconsciously thinking about this while she's in a coma, right? Or while she's hooked up to machines, right? So
That part. I feel like another point I need to pull out too, man.
Yeah.
And this ain't in none of my notes, but out of all the things that Noel could have been in her dreams, he was a chaplain. He's a chaplain. I feel like there's
deep.
something there, bro. Like he could have been he could have been a guard, he could have been a lawyer, but he was a chaplain, bro. Had the collar, had the little white square in the middle. Like he was a chaplain. That's telling of like what type of character he really was. He really was a
good dude.
Good guy,
a good dude.
Yeah.
And it was her mental. It was her mental that put her in that space. She's so focused on the wrong thing, she ain't focusing on the love.
She's focusing on her lawyer. She's focusing on getting out. When you should have been focused on the dude across the room that was meeting with the other guests who turned Father, you know, what's his name? Father Beckman, what's his name?
Father, no, you took
Father Decker.
Father Decker. Yeah, Father Decker.
You should have been focused on Father Decker. You know what I'm saying? But you focus on all this other stuff, trying to see if you get out, seeing that the governor is going to call to pardon you and all this stuff. No, man.
Right.
Like, you need to focus on your
absolutely
husband,
right,
man. You should have focused on Noel. And then in the other stuff, like you're in real life, you're focused. That was like a parallel, right?
Right.
You're focused on all this stuff that's lies. It's fake news. Your husband ain't cheating on you. Your husband don't want Ariel. Right. You up here bugging out at the little kickback that they had at the house. You know what I'm saying? You drinking too much and you yelling at this woman to get out your house, embarrassing your husband and all that. You focus on
the wrong thing.
I feel like perception played on Talia too.
Absolutely. Accusations. Like
man,
accusations.
Man. Accusations.
So I feel like the ending satisfying payoff. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want her to die. Because we knew she was innocent. We knew the plot holes. We just spoke about the plot holes.
But she deserved punishment.
She deserved punishment because she was about to commit a grave sin, and she was about to take out her spouse.
Attempted murder.
Attempted murder was the case that they gave. It was the case that they could have gave her. You know what I'm saying? And if he would have died, she probably would have settled for life. But I get why Freida wrote it like that. You know what I'm saying? This novella was real interesting, man. And I felt like the ending, it landed. You know what I'm saying?
It landed, bro.
It landed amazingly. You know what I'm saying? Because we get the satisfaction of knowing that she was a killer. You know what I'm saying? She had it in her blood.
She had it in her blood.
She also had that reconsideration when she realized the truth, but it was too late. It's like even in your thought pattern, when you thought to kill him, it's going to come back and haunt you now. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna come back to haunt you. So even though you did something wrong, bro, and now you gotta pay for that, you know, and it pays when she's about to get taken off. Because I feel like she got taken off of life support. Because they said that.
Yeah, she got taken off of life support.
Right.
And then she felt like the squeeze of her hand, but she tried to squeeze his hand back and she couldn't squeeze it, like she was dying, bro.
But she was getting injected with the stuff and she was feeling like she was, so that was her fading. That's probably them taking her off the life support and her fading into black. Like it's like two things happening at one time. She's thinking she's in prison because she's in a coma. But in reality, her perception is, here you go, perception versus reality. Her perception is she's in death row and she's dying because she killed her husband. That's her perception. And reality is she was going to kill her husband. And the end effect of that was she got hit by a Mack truck and put her in a coma and they had to take her off. So she was still unplugged.
I'm telling you, Freida just didn't land the plane. She flipped that joint, like that joint came like upside, like tumbled in like a, man, listen, man, this book was, I had to listen to it again and again and again at the end because I was confused at first, like, cause the twist was just coming back to back to back, like, man,
absolutely.
Like coming back to back to back, kind of like Kendrick Lamar getting, let me stop. All right.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Iceman May 15th. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Kind of remind me of a rapper.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But Freida, you did your thing, Freida. You know what I'm saying? Your novella. We looking forward to reading your book, The Divorce. Is dropping in May, towards the end of May, like May 24th, May 26th or something like that. So we looking to get in. We definitely getting into that. And we going to read that and we going to review that. I can't wait for that to drop.
Jay, are you a novella? Are you team novella now, man? I'm just wondering.
I got to catch me a couple. I think I'm going to need some quick reads to work where I can finish it, like you say, going back and forth. So now I got to look into the novella lane, man. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to look into the novella lane.
Novellas are perfect for you.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great thing for starters, for guys, right? Who struggle to read. I'm going to start sending these novellas to my homeboys. Hey, yo, listen, you take the train to work. You might have a vehicle. A lot of my friends got cars anyway, but they got to take the train. You know, it saves money. So while you on your way to work, pop this novella in, bro. You know what I'm saying? This might get you into the place where, you know, you expand, you expound off this reading and it's like, yo, let me go, I like Freida. Let me go see what else she got. You know, it's just open you up to the floodgates. You know what I mean?
Real talk.
And you never know who you can affect. Cause we've gotten comments saying, yo, you know what I'm saying? Y'all book reviews got me into this, got me into that, you know, because y'all read it, you know what I mean? And y'all reviewed it. We like the way y'all did it. You know what I mean? So we see what happens.
No doubt. Man, this is great, man.
This is great. We got to do this again, y'all. We got to do this again. We got to do another novella again, man. But until next time. We got Jay the speaker. We got Key the reader. Shout out to Key. And we got Jules the architect. Shout out to y'all, man. We'll catch y'all in the next one, man.
Peace.